Hello. You all might notice this is what Sefling and Traslander made. Traslander actually made it, and Sefling actually made quite some good filters to actually spawn in these kind of things. The only difference between this and what Sefling does is I'm doing this completely by command blocks. It's not the most efficient way you can do this, but it certainly is fun to do. The reason why it's not efficient because all these command blocks here, all of these, there's some more here, are all for just creating the structure, which is just this. And to destroy it, you only need this. It's not much, but a spawner minecart or so many command blocks, it's a lot. For actually using this, I would use it more on smaller stuff. You can do everything Sefling structure spawner can, but it's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger. Especially if you want to create something really big, like towers and homes. But what is it actually doing? I just applied knowledge that Traslander actually came up with using the spawner minecarts to create and destroy blocks. And this is just applied to command blocks. And there are two basic things. You can create a block by using falling sand entities, like so. It will create a falling sand block around this height, which the ID is been set to that of a wool block. You can also delete but a block, or at least do something special with it, which is this, and it flashes in the air. And the whole difference between this is, if we actually look at the data tag, it says here time 1, and here it says time 2. And what Minecraft does is, when a falling sand entity has a time of 0, it should not exist, and therefore it destroys immediately, like so. If it's higher than 0, it will keep existing and until it reaches the ground and becomes a solid block. The last item in there is to make sure that if you don't have too many blocks, it will not create items when it breaks. The fun thing about this one, even though it's really short, is you can make blocks like this one, turn them into falling entities. There it went. And as you see, if I press this again, you will see a block there leaping. And that's basically what it does. If it ends up with 0 time and it's in its own block, that's what this command block is doing. It's putting a falling sand entity right there, which has the same idea, attention, same ID, not data value. It will destroy this block, and the falling sand entity will get a time of 1, allowing it to fall further. And that's basically what it's doing. So it creates a block into a falling sand entity. That's all what Traslander also did. Here you can actually see it just turns into a small block, and you can actually refresh it if you actually put in a data value, like data is, I don't know, 15. It will change the block to a black block. We can also just do this with other values. And so you can change the block itself, as long as it has the same idea. The second thing is replacing a block. And this is a little bit harder. Wrong button. And there we have iron turn into gold. And back. And that's what this does. This allows you to create buildings and delete them. And the deleting part is a combination of this command block of turning entities into falling sand entities and changing blocks into other blocks. What I actually have done to delete blocks, a falling sand entity, let me just show you, grab some of these. If we have a slab, make a little tower, put some sand on it, and it falls down, it cannot be placed on a slab unless you do it like this, but it's cheating. It cannot exist on a half slab. Therefore it breaks. In the dead attack where it says drop item 0, it will not drop an item, so it won't create a mess on destruction. If you actually change the gold block into, say, a half slab, we'll make them both a half slab, and I'll just explain later how to actually replace a block, because that was the most difficult to get, to replace a block. You can change any block to another block. It's the most easiest thing. You don't have to worry. You can do it. You can put the button there or there. It doesn't matter. That always works. The problem is that a half slab is a pretty darn difficult block to handle, because if I press the button now, it doesn't switch. Oh, it doesn't switch, and it will never switch, because here which command block you update first is actually crucial. If I put it on the other side, it works. And here, but if I pull this back into a gold block, sorry, let's see, this is the iron, 41 and 41, and I can change this. Oh, that's the wrong one. I can change it no matter what button I press. I can change it to another block. A half slab is being fiddly and stupid, and that's actually also what you see here. All these lines are per layer, actually building it up. Then this is to change. These two here are to change. Let me just point out these two blocks and half slabs, because there's a class here that needs to get rid of. These two lines here change the grass into half slabs, and this works fine. It doesn't matter which way you do it, it just works. Then this whole part changes all the glass into falling sand entities using the time 0, which destroys the block and lets the entity live longer. The problem actually comes here. This is to change the half slabs back. From this angle is the only way it works, because if I had it here, some of these won't work, some of them won't work, and this doesn't work. They're very, very fiddly about actually replacing. I also had the problem with destroying, because these ones are not the same as this one. I usually have it per line, the same block or layer, but these one are actually placing, and these one are placing, and these are for removing, and these one are for removing. So if you're gonna replace half slabs with real blocks, it's gonna be the most annoying thing you'll ever notice, and that's one of the annoying things about it. Now, let's talk actually something that's inside the command block. So we have the summon command. It summons falling sand. It does it on the x-axis +5, and it puts it 3.99 in the air. It doesn't really matter if it's 399, it just works. As long as it's in the block, it doesn't actually matter. You can place a block, place a block, place a block. And again, as I said, if you set time to 1, it will keep existing until it hits a solid object. And if there's a block in the way, it will create nothing. The falling sand entity does it with time 0. I already explained. It doesn't really matter which height, as long as it's in this block, so to say. The replacing, it's the same thing. It's because like that. Now comes the replacing. This one is the hardest. It uses a small delay between a block being placed, like this one, and one being destroyed and put down. Basically what you do if you turn an iron block into gold is what you place the gold block a little bit higher than that you put the entity for a iron block, and this is about plus a half. I have here plus 75 and plus 50, and the gold block is only 0.25 higher than the iron block. And what happens is when the gold block with time 0 comes into the block, and if it's a gold block, it will destroy the gold block. But because the iron block is sooner on the ground than the gold block by 0.25, the actual solid block will be transformed into an iron block. And this also works first fight. So if I... Basically what you're doing is the highest entity destroys the block and the lowest actually sets the block. And that's how you replace blocks. You cannot actually physically destroy them. You have to change the underground into half slabs, make them all fall and destroy them because they cannot rest on half slabs. You can also turn them into fences or into like torches. And that's basically it. And all these entities here have all these commands with relative precision. So if I would move this a few meters further, it would still build the same thing. And the fun thing is, if you actually build something that already exists, it doesn't matter, it doesn't work. And you can always destroy them. As you see there, it got a bit pink, and that's the reason because you can actually change the color of what should fall, and I didn't change the data value of these one to the correct color of the yellow stained clay, which you actually see here. It just becomes the normal stained block, which is white or whitish. And that's how that works. If you have any more questions, I would like to answer them, and I would like to see what you guys come up with these commands. I think I'll put in the descriptions the commands I used to the destroy and fall, so you can use it by yourself. And yeah, go check out Translander, who actually came up with the original idea, and his time and work in it has been made this possible. And goodbye, and I'll see you next time.